let's remember that less than 10% of UK businesses have any interaction with the European Union. What this is basically is big multinational businesses looking after their own vested interests. And the timing of this intervention by Airbus and by BMW, it's not a coincidence. It's designed to undermine the negotiating leverage of the Prime Minister. And let's just remember who owns Airbus, shall we? Airbus is 25% owned by the French, German and Spanish governments. BMW is German-owned. And so they are deliberately acting, in a sense, in the interests of EU shareholders and countries and against the Prime Minister's interest. And, frankly, that's very unhelpful.
But why shouldn't they act in the interests of their own company? That's what they're there to do.
Fine, well, let's look at Airbus, shall we? 78% of Airbus's orders are outside the European Union. So actually, what they should be doing, if they're worried, they should be moving more jobs and more investment to the UK as we leave. The reality is, look at Airbus, there are no tariffs on aeronautical parts. Okay? So, all of this is a lot of scaremongering.
But why would they do that? Sure, are you saying they don't really mean it? They're not really worried? Or why would it be scaremongering?
It's the same company that said if we didn't join the euro 20 years ago, they would have to withdraw from the UK. They haven't. They've increased their investments here. And let's look at the 5 big lobbying groups on behalf of business. You said earlier that they didn't campaign during the referendum. Actually, they did. They all campaigned for Remain. And they all want us to remain in the single market and the customs union.
But business leaders were very quiet during the referendum campaign. I kept thinking, come on, tell us what you think.
No, sorry, Clive, you're completely wrong. Caroline
Well, I don't remember them.
The Director General of the CBI was one of the most vocal
oh, yes, but I'm talking about actual business people who run businesses.
Where
were they all?
On our side, there were lots of us. There were
there were a few that I remember, but there was a bit of a stunning silence. I feel businesses wanted to keep out of it. They didn't want to be unpopular with their customers.
On the Remain side, they were relying on their lobbying groups, but the reality is, they're not listening to actually what's good for British people.
Right, but why would Airbus do this? That's what I don't get. Surely they are just doing what they think is best for their company.
I'll explain to you, and I'll explain it again. They're 25% owned by French, German and Spanish governments.
So you think
has 0% shareholder interest in Airbus.
Right.
They are acting because
25%. So are you saying that those foreign governments are interfering with it, the way Airbus is run then?
Well, you can draw your own conclusion, but it's no...
Well, it sounds like you are saying that, but that's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? I mean, they're only 25% owners.
And so why did they threaten to pull out 20 years ago if we didn't join the euro? Why has this happened just literally, just before the summit, to undermine... Well,
presumably because they don't want to leave.
What they should be doing is saying, get a good deal for Britain and for British workers, right? And we will organise our Plan B preparations in the event of no deal. And that's what good business people do. This sounds to me like they've been too reliant on the fact that there would definitely be a deal, as opposed to doing what good business people should do, which is have Plan B preparations in place in the event of no deal.